A former coach of yours is going to be incredibly proud of you, if I had to guess. There's a Yinzer that has represented the city in football so damn well as a head coach for 17 seasons in the NFL. Most recently with the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, you all came to love this man as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a Yinzer legend. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us every single week on Thursdays. Coach Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, Coach!
You look awesome.
Wow.
Holy hell. This is,
Thank you. No, it's great to be on, Pat. I missed you guys.
Hey,
Go ahead.
You look, did you know this is how he was going to look? I am so sorry. I'm so jacked up. I had no idea you were going to look this cool. The backdrop, awesome, beautiful. Super Bowl championship. The hat, the button down, kind of the loose casual.
Coach.
With the night photo in the back. Coach, you look awesome. We want to let you know that, and we appreciate the hell out of you.
Okay. I don't even know what to say. What the hell was you expect me to look like, AJ? Help me out.
You got a great camera setup. I think your production value is very high. You look great, Coach.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I got a lot of people give credit to there. Obviously, my wife Jessica took care of me behind me, so I'm in good hands.
Great artist. We've been in there before. An incredible artist. We appreciate you joining us. Today's a great day to have you on, obviously. Dallas Cowboys opening up the NFL season tonight, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. You obviously understand that rivalry. You understand that NFC East better than anybody that would be talking into a microphone at this point. What are the emotions of this evening, and how much do you think Shoddy and the Dallas Cowboys are drawing on how much everybody has kind of counted them out since the Micah Parsons trade?
Oh, I think they're enjoying it clearly. I think just like anything, this is a huge division game. It's a rival game. I guarantee you everybody in that locker room is expected to go out there and win tonight. So I'm looking for a super competitive game. I know they're excited about it. You know, obviously last year, the way the two games went, the outcome of last year's two games. But, yeah, this is going to be a hell of a football game. I'm excited to watch it.
If you're Shoddy, are you thankful for everything that has happened during your short tenure thus far? Obviously, trading away Micah has created a lot of noise around the team. A lot of people saying this is the dumbest franchise. A lot of people saying they have no chance. A lot of people kind of burying them. If you're Shoddy, do you like that as a coach, that you can draw from it? Or what are your thoughts on having that be the start of your coaching career in Dallas with all the chaos that kind of took place outside?
I think the thing for Brian is he understands it. I mean, there's always two components that you learn when you work there. And the pure football part of it's excellent. I mean, there's so much to love about this Dallas Cowboy football team. And I know he realizes that. So, and when you just keep it about football, there's, like I said, this is a very good football team, a very young football team. And, and this is always a great game. Philadelphia and Dallas. So I think you just got to keep it more about that. Now, all the other stuff that goes on, that's part of the environment there. That's part of the content-driven business that Jerry's the master of. And you just got to learn to separate that. And personally, it took me a couple years, and frankly, it was a conversation that I had with Jerry. I think it was after it was about 2022, where just everything we talk about right here. That's what counts, and all the other stuff is business. And I think when you realize that, and I think the players there now realize that too, the current players, because this is a hell of a locker room. I'm really high on these guys. I know we've talked about these guys during the draft, the draft visit, but I think this is a young ascending football team. I like the additions that they made, so I look for a super competitive game tonight.
Okay, go ahead, AJ.
Coach, anytime we've been around you, you're very high on Dak Prescott and everything that he does as a quarterback and as a leader of that team. I guess, what do you expect from him not only tonight but the rest of this season?
Number one, stay healthy. He stays healthy. He'll reach every goal that he has set out for his team and himself. I do believe that in heart of hearts. I think Dak is clearly what I would call a full operational quarterback. When you get into the postseason, you start building your offense for the upcoming year, the concepts you're looking to, build off of, the variations that you want to change. He's full operational. There's nothing that you really get out of. Now he obviously ran more in his younger days, and frankly, once he received a bigger contract, we try to be more selective with that. I'm not sure what direction they're going here in the future here, but he's full operational. I thought, we increased the three-step emphasis. I thought he was excellent at that. So. The play action, the keeps, and all that. So really like him in the situations. Everybody talks about his leadership and his hard working, but this man's a hell of a football player. I just love the way he stands in there and makes those throws and doesn't blink.
Okay, so let's talk about him standing in there and making those throws. You've obviously had to game plan against Vic Fangio's defense, this defense that is currently with the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think Shoddy, Dak, and that offense are going to try to do tonight to this Philadelphia Eagles defense? How do you have success against them?
Well, the biggest thing too, it always starts up front. Doesn't matter who you play, and it definitely starts up front when you play against this Philadelphia Eagle defense. When I view defensive lines, this is a group that can apply pressure inside and out. So with that, you just got to be very aware when you're talking about time clocks and expectations. And personally, I prefer to throw the ball on them up in Philadelphia on the grass than inside, because I can remember a safety that Fletcher Cox had in the earlier games in 21, I think it was, where when you have that combination of inside and outside, you got to be smart with the way you throw the ball. And I'm talking now particularly to your pass sets. You have to make sure you short set these guys more than you probably would think. I think that's something that will definitely be the starting point. I know that's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching the up front. I'll be watching the fits. I'll be watching the chipping, the edges, if they're making Dak throw off his back foot and so forth. But, this will start in the trenches, and it'll start with running the football and having the opportunity to take advantage of that run game on first and second down. But when it comes down to the situational stuff, you got to block them. And this is a hell of a defensive front.
You said something in there that was kind of just a throwaway comment for you, but I think is very interesting. You said you'd prefer to play them on grass, that D-line, up in Philadelphia, as opposed to maybe turf. Is that what you were trying to get at there? Because maybe the footing's a little bit more loose. Now, it's obviously opening night, Philadelphia Eagles and everything like that. Grass is going to be it's going to be immaculate. It's going to be immaculate tonight. But it does have the possibility to be a little bit more slick than like turf or maybe in a dome or something like that. Is that what you were getting at there with playing against this Philadelphia?
Well, yeah, I'm not even talking about slickness. I just think it's the reality of playing on grass versus turf, and compliments to the Philadelphia grounds crew. They do a great job up there. I mean, the grass is great up here in November, December when we went up there. So, but I just think it's more about they're at that level of a defensive front. When defensive fronts have the ability to apply pressure inside and outside, you got to make sure you really change up the pass sets and those types of things. It's not like, I prefer to play them. I prefer to throw the ball in Philly and not at Dallas. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you just got to be conscientious in the game plan and more particularly in game to make those adjustments, because I think you saw it in the Super Bowl. That game was on turf, and those guys, they were applying pressure from the first quarter all the way through. So I just have a lot of respect for their defense, a lot of respect for Vic. But it starts up front, always does.
DC Fangio goes from Miami, where he was told it was Fangio-over, basically. Yeah. Can't relate to the modern players. Then he goes up Philadelphia, wins Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Then he's got everybody back, and they got the Dallas Cowboys on opening night. Are you guys going to be able to repeat the success you had last year? We shall see. Connor has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, another new OC for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Obviously, when they have a lot of success, those OCs are going to go and be head coaches. Kellen Moore, being the most recent one who you were with for some time. But what do you expect for Jalen to kind of struggle and go through early on in the game, if he struggles at all with the new offense? And do you see them just continuing to kind of lean on Saquon in the O-line and no point to change what they have done, the past 2 years?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if there's any struggle from a systematic approach. I mean, the first OC is still there, Nick. I think Nick's done a great job, not only the overall football team, but keeping the formula for success intact. I mean, they definitely played to their strengths. I mean, ground and pound and control that clock, and they got a dynamic offensive perimeter group that can play with anybody. So I think that, the operational part of it will be seamless. The biggest thing in my experience is September football. The things I'll be watching for is, just the fundamentals, the time clocks, the timing, the combination blocks, the pad level and footwork and those types of things. And that's for both teams. But I would think Jalen would just, I'll be surprised if they don't kind of pick up where they left off. And, hopefully they've had a good camp. But, I don't think the OC change is going to be huge, in my opinion.
As we wrap up for tonight's game and move on to other NFL stories, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the entire Micah situation. Obviously, we assume you have a different view or perspective on this as somebody that was literally in the building in a very prominent role and have a relationship with Jerry Jones. As you're watching this from outside in and kind of all unfold, what are your thoughts, especially with the release of the documentary where a lot of people are learning that Jerry is the consummate businessman and promoter and kind of learning his ways while all this is taking place in the news? What were your thoughts on it as former coach there?
Well, I mean, honestly, personally, I try to get as far away from football as I possibly could since my time ended there in Dallas, and was able to accomplish that for the most part, as far as much as what people would allow me, and just the quality time that I've had with my family is something I've never had before. But I will say this: I did have an opportunity to meet with Jerry in June before we moved back. The family moved back to Green Bay. And, one of the first things we talked about, just the off-season program, how excited he was about the draft class. And he talked about Micah. I mean, he was excited that, he felt that him and Micah had a deal and in his future. And, and he's earned that. And I think we all recognized, the impact and, the performance from a performance perspective. Micah Parsons earned his contract. I mean, there's no question about that. So, I mean, that was my position on, I'm going to say early June. So I just, and obviously being there, I mean, this is a contract, from a cap management standpoint, you're talking about the last 2 years. I mean, then, you got Dak, you got CD, and now you got Micah. So, I mean, these contracts obviously affect your approach or outlook on other contracts. So I always anticipated it would get done as far as, that meeting in June. But, one thing I've learned, and, the old saying in business, time kills deals. And as training camp got going and people were asking me and what was going as I was trying to, get some boat time up here in Door County, I just always felt, hey, no, they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done. Jerry's, this is the businessman, Jerry, keeping the Cowboys at the front of the news cycle and just really didn't pay much mind to it. But, as this thing went on longer and longer, I think anytime, business transactions, are held up, the decision makers, there's more emotion that comes into play here. Opinions are heard more and more. And I mean, this is what can happen. So this is just my opinion. I'm not acting like I have any inside information, but I just felt this was a deal that took too long. And frankly, I think both sides will benefit. I think Green Bay will benefit here in the short term. And I think Dallas, I like what Dallas is doing. I love that Deron Bland got a contract. Hunter, these guys, I mean, as I'm looking here at AJ, he's a perfect example of it. The draft and develop process is built on second contracts. How many second contracts are done on your draft class? And I think Dallas is now in that on that path. And so where the past you lose a guy or two because you are projecting these big contracts. So I think these are two good young football teams. I clearly see Micah making a huge impact because regardless of what you think about him, when he gets off the bus, he's getting double teamed, he's getting chipped, he's being identified, he's making the whole front seven is better because of the opportunity he is creating for them. And that's just the facts. I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. So Green Bay now has that, so now, what does Dallas have? I mean, Dallas has 5 real pass rushers. I'm excited about those guys. Sam Williams, it's his time. I mean, Sam was ready last year. He had that big knee injury in training camp. So, we were excited to see Sam and Micah, line up last year, and it didn't happen. So, these teams got depth, both Green Bay and Dallas. I'm talking. So, it'll be exciting to see the course of the season. But I'm telling you, don't the emotion that was surrounding the Cowboys right now. I'd never, put too much into that. I think when you just look at the brass facts of football, I think Dallas Cowboys got a really good football team.
Cowboys plus 8.5 tonight.
Oh, I'm taking Cowboys all day long.
Come on, coach.
All right, let's move off of tonight. We appreciate you addressing Micah, and also you saying that in June when he talked to Jerry was like, hey, Micah's, gonna be a Cowboy and be a deal. And then you saying time kills all deals. Feels like there was a lot of things that happened in that time, and then a lot of avoiding each other, it felt like. Anytime you get that public shit that started coming out too, that's never a good thing. But hey, Jerry could have made magic at the end, decided to send him to Green Bay, and now Packers fans are excited. And now maybe he stays in your house up there. Tone has a question for you about another Green Bay legend.
Yeah, Coach, I do. Obviously, you were with Aaron for a long time up in Green Bay, and I wanted to hypothetically put you in Steelers offensive coordinator Artie Smith's shoes. They have a young O-line. They have a young running back. They have talented tight ends, and obviously DK on the outside. If you were the offensive coordinator in week one, how would you handle this offense with Aaron, and what does he do for a young offensive line in particular?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, with Aaron, playing with new members of an offense is just getting the rhythm of it. I mean, you're talking about a cadence. It's probably one of the best weapons in offensive football that I've been around. I mean, he regularly used, 9 cadence variations in our time together. And, I just think the fact that you're able to use this. So, I mean, how much of that are we going to do is where I'm going with this. So just get into a rhythm, get these guys started, get them off on the right foot. I'm excited about Pittsburgh because, lifetime Steeler fan. I can openly root for him this year. And I'm excited to see Aaron, in the black and gold too. And I like their formula, I love what Mike Tomlin stands for. I think, trust your tradition. This team's been about defense since the 70s. So, I mean, I think they got an outstanding defense, play to that. And, you're going to be in every football game. And I guarantee you there's no one that's run more 2-minute drills than Aaron Rodgers. So I think they have a really nice formula to be successful.
Going to be cagey affairs. The Cardiac Steelers back for another game, another season. They spent a lot of money on a lot of people, seemingly going all in. Hopefully Cam Hayward is a part of the entire thing. Also Chris Boswell. They have a couple things that have kind of been lingering overhead business-wise. But if they put that team on the field and everybody's there, very evident that they're trying to make a run this year. Steelers fans are pumped. But if it goes south, Coach, you know how Pittsburgh is. Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned Aaron's cadence, and just makes you think, what – you've been around some great quarterbacks, obviously, in your time. What does he do that separates himself from other people? I've seen it firsthand. I know defenses, it drives him crazy. But, what is he doing? How is he using inflection of his voice? How is he different than other quarterbacks, maybe?
Well, great as far as the variation, but the self-scout. I think all the way back to the early years. I mean, obviously, we built that over time. But, his ability to self-scout throughout the season, being totally on top of, Chicago week 1, Chicago week 12. So I think because, obviously since they put the microphones on the center and guards, I mean, there's the audio out there, everybody's aware of it. But I think just being on, the variations is one thing, but the percentage of the variations and more importantly, the timing, young defensive end in the game. Okay, great time to, go double count, those types of things. So I just think his experience is top of the line. Been around a lot of great quarterbacks. I think his application of information at the line of scrimmage is as good as anybody that's ever played the game. I mean, his ability to absorb information. There's times, and you've been there, AJ. He's almost on the sideline of the other team because he's over there listening to the defensive coordinator talk to the players, and he's acting like he's over there BSing. So, his ability to gain information during the course of the game and apply it, I always thought was very unique.
Yeah, the last second timeout too, whenever he can't figure it out. That shit's dancing with 1-0. Yeah, look at you. Yeah, it does get real close.
Yeah, I want to got blamed for this shit all the time. I just thought that up.
Hey, when it gets to 3 or 2, can we make a decision as opposed to at the half every single time? It was fantastic. Hey, Green Bay Packer owner who lived those rides with you, Ty, has a question.
Yeah, Coach, the last several years, the only thing we've talked about, with the Bengals at the start of the season is hey, Zach Taylor doesn't have these guys prepared. They don't start fast. And with how good the AFC and the NFC are now, a lot of teams can be shit out of luck if they start 0-4. Is there any way going into a season you can ensure hey, we're going to start fast this year and we're not going to put ourselves in a hole where we have to win 6 or 7 games down the stretch to get into the playoffs?
Blame it on the CBAs. That's what I would say. No, I tell you, it's tough. It really is. I think training camp is the most important time a year as far as training your football team. It's the only time really the offensive line, who are at a huge disadvantage, in the training, in the training formats that are out there, because they really don't get into the real training, into the fifth practice of a training camp. So I think you have to coach September football a little differently. September football is not the best of the year, and I think that, the fact that you have 17 games, I'm actually thankful for it, because you still have opportunities, because, you see it every year. The fundamentals are, they're just not as good as they were in the early days. And that's just probably a product of a guy that's been fortunate to be in the league for 3 decades. But, I think some of that, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for any coach, I just think you do have some of that September football. And as far as being ready, there's change that, each team every year. You talk about another great division, that's a tough, hard-nosed division as any in football too. So yeah, I don't think there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it, because you got to train your football team as hard as you can in training camp, but it's really, you train them to the health of your team too. So that's you got the mechanisms of GPS and all those things that go into it. But it's your timeline of training camp, getting a team ready is a bit of a challenge for everybody.
That's good stuff, Scott, especially with all the mechanisms that we got out there
Tell
today.
Scott.
Yeah. Coach, we appreciate you. This was wonderful. We know you're on the Cowboys. We appreciate your takes on that. And we can't wait to chat with you next week. You're the man. We appreciate the hell out of you.
All right, thank you, man. Look forward to next week. Have a great week.
Ladies and gentlemen, Super Bowl champion who looks very cool right now,
Yep.
Coach McCarthy.